All right, it's Greek time again. Let's take a look at personal pronouns and the present indicative of the verb of being. These are grouped together because we're going to see that personal pronoun is a word such as I, you, or he, she, or it. And the verb of being a verb, would be I am or you are. So they're going to kind of go together, but we do need to remember one is a pronoun and one is a verb. The Greek verb endings we see show the person and number of the subject. We've noticed that many times, but there are many times when a personal pronoun will be a very useful thing. So we're going to meet those pronouns so that we can have a pronoun like you other than as the subject of a verb. Remember, my full class is available at pottersschool.org, or I do a summer intensive Greek at the American Lutheran Theological Seminary, alts.edu, and you're always welcome to come by my website at Wittenberg Door Campus Ministry, wittenbergcomo.com. Let's take a look at these pronouns. We want to be able to say I, and that's a very handy thing to say. Now, let's be sure we know how to say that. In English, we remember that in the nominative singular as a subject, it would be I if it's just one person. How about if it's a plural? In English, that would be we. Then in all of these other cases, genitive through accusative, we're going to use some sort of a form of the word me, because the personal pronoun does decline a little bit in English. And how about in the plural? We'll use a form of us. There we go. So let's see how those pronouns work. And remember, this is a pronoun. It's not a verb. And so it doesn't say I do anything. It just identifies the person. So we see ego for I. And then notice there are two different forms, emu and mu. When my daughter was quite a bit younger, she enjoyed it when I made up Greek sentences about my something, because we'd always get to say moo. All right, just like a cow. And if it's dative to me, it's moi. You notice in the dative singular, usually you see the iota subscript, but here in the pronoun, it's beside the omicron. And you have a short vowel instead of a long one, slight difference. And then the accusative, hey, in English it's me also, and in Greek it's me. Now what's happening over here, you notice there are two different forms. There's one with an epsilon at the beginning of it and an accent on it, emu, emoi, eme, and then there's the other one that's just mu, moi, me. The one with the epsilon, the longer form, is more emphatic. So it's as if you're jumping up and down while you're saying it, rather than just saying it. In the plural, notice the we, he, mes. I often tell people to remember that the word for we starts with an E, like we ends with an E. Then there's hemon, you're used to that genitive plural ending. Hemin, accusative plural, or dative plural rather, not exactly what you're used to. And then hemas, which looks pretty much like an accusative ending. So some of the forms are a little bit unpredictable from a first and second declension standpoint. However, I'm sure you can memorize them quickly. To say I, of me, to me, we, of us, to us, and us. Let's get the second person, and the second person is Sue. All right, did you ever wonder if you had a boy named Sue? Sue, no, just it is the you word, and I don't know, some people might remember it because if you turn the spelling around backwards, it spells us, but I think it's probably easier just to remember that Sue means you. Notice in the plural, though, the word that means you starts with a U. And in English, the word you works for singular or plural, and it works for all of the different cases, right? Of you, to you, you. All right, so that's fine. Notice there's no more emphatic form like there was with the I. There's no longer form of a singular you. And you see the genitive singular OU, the dative singular OI, well, just like moi, we have soy, and the accusative say. Then the plural, the endings are just the same between the two first and second person pronouns, humes, humon, humin, humas. Now, first person and second person pronoun may be masculine and it may be feminine. There's no neuter, and they look just the same whether they're masculine or feminine. So there will be no difference in the form there. All right, that's how to say I, or me, or we, or us, or you, in all of the different cases. What about he, she, or it? This is going to be a little more complicated because there is a masculine he, there's a feminine she. Here, wait a minute. Okay, let's choose the right drawing tool if I'm going to draw on this. Masculine he, a feminine she, and a neuter it. What's the plural? If there are a bunch of people who would be he, it would be they. If there are a bunch of people who would be she, it'd be they. And if there are a bunch of things that would be it, again it would be they. What about once you get out of the nominative case? It's no longer they. We think of they? No, of them. You see the endings? The dative plural to them, accusative plural, them, direct object. What about in the singulars? The masculine he, but we don't say of he, do we? We say of him, and to him, and him. Now notice the masculine follows the second declension. Works just like logos, doesn't it? Or anthropos, or any of those second declension masculines. All right, how about she? He becomes him. She doesn't become Shem. What does she become? Herm? No, just her. Of her, to her, and her. And look at that. The feminine, those are perfectly normal first declension endings, aren't they? Perfectly normal. Now the neuter, on the other hand, yeah, you know, your luck would run out somewhere here. Now it's not difficult though. Look at the neuter. It's slightly irregular. There, in those highlighted places. The neuter, nominative singular it, Does it turn into anything else with an of? No. Of it, to it, it. And the neuter, nominative, and accusative singular match each other just like they always do. And the neuter, nominative, and accusative plural end with an A just like they always do. But the nominative and accusative singular, instead of being auton, is auta. Now something else I think you want to notice very carefully is where the accent is on this third person pronoun. You also want to notice the smooth breathing. So pronounce it carefully. Put the smooth breathing on it. Put the accent on the right syllable, and you will really be glad of that when you get to the next lesson, the lesson with a demonstrative pronoun, because they look very much similar to each other, but they are not the same. All right, so we have I, and we have you, and we have he, she, and it. But what if we want to say I am, or you are? We're going to need a verb for that, aren't we? Because being is expressed by a verb. And this is the verb of being. Now the verb of being is irregular in every language under the sun, so just kind of get used to it. I suggest people memorize this 6 different times. The first time, me, I am. The second time, you are. And as a third word, st or estin, he, she, or it is. Guess what the fourth time would be? You memorize this as esmen, we are. And how about a fifth time? Let's memorize este, you, plural, are. And then a sixth time, ac or asin, they are. Just memorize it as 6 different vocabulary words. And try to get the chart also, but realize they're going to be really irregular. If you read about it in a fairly extensive Greek grammar, you'll see that the stem of the being verb is the letters es. The iota sneaks in there sometimes. They're not completely sure why. Or the sigma drops out sometimes. They're not completely sure why. But it's something that happened over many years in many European languages, by the way. So you're going to see the verb of being will be rather similar in the Germanic languages and in the Romance languages, the Hellenic language. It'll be similar all over Europe. Now, why do I call it the present indicative? Where's the active? Well, remember, active indicates that the subject is doing the action of the verb. But in the being verb, you really don't have active or passive. You can't be anybody. Well, you can be somebody, but you can't is somebody. Right? You really can't are somebody unless you're a pirate. And you can't be ised. It's impossible to receive the action of it also, right? You can't be ammed. So it doesn't really have voice. A lot of times people will call it active, but it really kind of technically isn't. I will never give someone a hard time for saying, oh, that's present active indicative of the being verb. But do realize at some point, no, actually it doesn't have voice. All right, so we've met the personal pronouns, ego, su, autos, and the present indicative of the verb of being, me. Happy Greek to you!